All right, I got 5:09 p.m. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Roll call, Commissioner Widdop,
Here.
Commissioner Burrows,
Here.
Commissioner Kusanchidi,
Here.
and Mr. Tebow is absent at this time. All right, first order of business, I would like to, on behalf of the Easton Housing Authority, the Board of Commissioners, and everybody else involved, welcome Mr. Burrows as our new commissioner. It's a pleasure to have you. We thank you for putting in the time and effort it takes to get your papers all signed and go through an election process that was somewhat different this year, and it's much appreciated. We're here for you. If you need anything, feel free to ask Pam. She'll be happy to answer them for you. So,
Absolutely.
but thank you. Thank you for everything. It's appreciated.
Thank you.
All right. First agenda item, Executive Director's Report.
There she is.
Hi, Chris. There you go.
There you go.
I'm here. Yay.
We can hear you too, so can you hang up your phone? Because I think maybe we're getting two here.
No, because my computer doesn't work audio-wise. I have to have the phone for audio.
All right, so we're good. All right, so we were just doing agenda item number 1, the Executive Director's Report. Something's squeaking and squibbling somewhere.
Is it a puppy dog's?
Not mine.
You could hear mine, but they're not barking at the moment.
No, it's a different sound. It's not dogs. It's, I don't know. It's gone now.
Okay.
I don't know. So I'd entertain a motion on the minutes.
On the executive director's report?
Oh, the Executive Director's Report. Any comments? That's where we're at. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I guess I would like to ask how the administrator is doing with reaching out to people following the CHAMP program to try to fill the vacancies.
Not very well. It's a really tough program. It has a lot of inconsistencies where you screen the same people other agencies are screening. It's taking much longer. We have to pull many lists because you can only pull one list per unit. We found out today that DHCD is going to be releasing a new caveat to CHAMP in November where you can pull multiple units to one list, which would be beneficial. We were of the point, basically, Dawn was leasing up those units and the guys were walking out the back door because they just finished them. And due to CHAMP, it's taking so much longer. You pull a list. We typically pull 30 people to a list. You have to screen all 30 of those people. Typically, they're not from your area because everybody comes up as an emergency. Then you send out the letters trying to contact them. They have the 10 days to respond. Then you have to send out the cancel, basically saying we're removing you from the list because you failed to respond. Then you got to wait another 20 days. So you're talking a month has gone by before you can even maybe find somebody, but then you wind up pulling a whole new list and starting the process all over again. So it's taking much longer. This is not like anything we've experienced before. And I think it's a little on the detrimental side to most housing authorities out there, I think. Commissioner Sheedy would also agree with that.
Yeah, I can echo what Kathy's going through. We're going through the same thing in Fairhaven. Everybody who attended the conference today and at our small housing authority roundtable was commenting on how horribly, basically, this is going for most, that it is sending everybody into delayed vacancy lease-ups, and it's just making the whole process a lot more cumbersome than it needs to be. And they're aware of it, but nobody's doing anything super quickly to fix it.
The sad part about this is that the consequences are so far-reaching when you consider you have a dozen empty units waiting to be filled, and you probably have people that are homeless and or bunking up on air mattresses at relatives' homes. It's just a very sad state of affairs. Not
It
to
is.
mention the
We're actually-
financial consequences. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, more so the human aspect. We are actually aware of one person in town that is homeless. Verifiably, we're very well aware of it. And we're getting to the point now that we're almost getting to that person on the list. And that person should be housed by now. It would have been housed by now had we not had this champ list.
Is that the same
So
person?
it's unfortunate.
Is that the same person you're receiving pressure from?
Excuse me?
Are you receiving any pressure about that
Yes.
person? Okay.
Yeah.
I can say as far as Abington, I know Katie had 3 apartments over there, and I believe it was like 75 piece documents that she had to mail out just for people to, I think 3 people sent something back, and it wasn't that you were gonna place them, and then you start all over again. So it's the time constraint on the authorities that I'm thinking 13 authorities, you might at this rate never get those rented. It's almost impossible. So at least if they let you
Yeah.
pull one list and pull several people off it, then maybe
Yeah.
you can get something done. But, pull a list and only get one person off that list and then have to pull another list 13 times, you'll never get caught up.
Yeah.
With just Dawn doing it, you'd have to hire multiple people. So,
Right.
The other good
Yeah.
part is that Mass Narrow is putting people on staff, and they are attempting to work through eliminating the bulk of this champ system and all the paper processing, and taking that burden off the authorities. They've just started with a pilot attempt at it. They think there's 24 authorities that are in on the pilot. Fairhaven is one of them. And they're going through, like, they've sent out 3,000 packets. And it's just a massive process. And until they kind of see how the pilot works and they figure out what else is necessary, they'll then offer it to everybody who wants to participate. And it will be a fee-for-service type of arrangement. But it will eventually take the bulk of this, or a lot of it, off the authorities. We're really hoping it serves its purpose. And DHCD is very well aware. They redesigned a piece of CHAMP so that Mass Narrow could get in and do a lot of this work. So it's a bit of a work in progress, but it's started, and I think the option will be out there to housing authorities probably, I think we're hoping in like maybe 2 or 3 months.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
There is some hope on the horizon, just don't plan on it.
let's hope it works, because it's gonna be a problem for, with the amount of vacancies that built up from March to now, I don't know when you'd ever get them filled in the current
Yeah.
situation.
But
All
I
right.
think Easton just needs to be aware that we're not the only housing authority going through this, that it's pretty prevalent across the state. And so Easton, I think, is doing a great job doing what they're, as much as they can, and it's just not uncommon. So don't feel like we're behind.
Thank you.
The
All right.
roof replacement project on Elise Circle, Kathy, you mentioned here that you were running an ad. Is there anything further on that since September
Oh,
9th?
no, the ad just went out. I forget, I don't have it right in front of me, but we'll be opening the bids very soon, and hopefully we'll try to squeeze that in before the snow starts flying with any luck. Fingers crossed.
And then there's also you requested that the staff be allowed to continue with the summer hours throughout the year. I noticed that's on your memo here as well.
Yeah, that would need a board approval, of course.
Probably actually should have been as an agenda item, I think.
I have it on the agenda with the executive director report. I put it on there. Request
Right.
for approval to adopt summer hours.
Right, oh, okay,
Yeah.
yep, it's there, sorry.
No, that's fine. No. I mean, they seem to be working out well. I think the staff, we had asked last year as well. The staff has really stepped up this year. I think they're doing a great job. They're going above and beyond. We've been trying. And it's just a nice little perk to be able to give them. We're not losing any man hours as far as work hours, obviously. Maintenance stays later and admin comes in earlier. And again, I know this is not anybody's thing. Nobody takes a lunch hour ever. They don't even step away from their desks in the office. They can be eating lunch and people are calling or whatever, or coming to the door and knocking now, and they get up. So I think it would be nice to still continue on. They leave at 1 o'clock on a Friday. And obviously
So-
maintenance is always on call.
Just review how that, when do people come in and when do they leave?
Well, typical hours are 8:30 to 4 for admin. So now admin's from 8 to 4, Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday. They both come in at 8. Maintenance typically comes in from 7 to 3:30. So they come in at 7 and they stay till 4 to make up the time.
All right, and nobody's technically giving up their lunch hour or a half hour.
Nobody's been asked to. They do. Nobody ever. Once in a while, Dawn and I may go for a walk, but short of that, they are always, they never step away from their desks. Yes, we should. Nobody ever does. Even if you
Yeah, no,
try to go outside.
I'm meaning more that this isn't calculated into the hours, because I think we would
It
be
is.
held, that's
There's an extra
labor
half an hour
standards
on
don't
Friday.
allow you to do that.
Right, I don't ask them to do that, but because they do, there's that extra half hour on Friday. So no, that's not included. So it's a half an hour every day for each person. So totals 2 hours a week, basically. And I throw that extra half an hour in because nobody typically goes to lunch. Even the guys, if they're sitting out by the garage and trying to eat, tenants come over and we'll be talking to them, want this, that, or the other thing. And yeah, the guys run 40 hours. Admin staff is 35 hours. I'm 37.5 hours. So everybody adds a little extra half an hour every day. So basically, the maintenance is 7 to 1 on Fridays, and admin would be 8 to 1 on Fridays, which is typically what we do all summer. I'm in at 7:30 though.
I personally, Kathy, don't have a problem with it, but I think I'd like to see you bring it back to us next month, all spelled out as a personnel policy change, that this is what we have, this is what we're gonna go to, and I don't have a problem with it, that it's a couple hours on Friday afternoon, that, it's just me though, the rest is obviously up to the board, but I think if we're gonna vote on something, that it should be spelled out and clear that this is exactly what we're voting on.
Well, we do already have that for summer hours, and I would just suggest to amend it to make it year-round hours. We have already spelled that out as a policy change for summer hours strictly.
For the summer, and that would be Memorial
We
Day.
would just change that to
Year
So what
round.
if there's
the Labor
any,
Day.
if there's any maintenance emergencies Friday afternoons, does that become overtime, or is How does that work?
Well, once you get over the 40 hours, it's
Yeah.
gonna be overtime.
No, yeah, it would be overtime because it's already put in their hours. But we typically, we have very few emergencies. The guys are good. That it's rare. If we get an emergency, it's like a lockout. But even that, we don't have too many of them. It's pretty rare we get an emergency call. Very rare. We have weekends that they go with absolutely no calls, which is good. That speaks to how good that they are with keeping up on everything.
Yeah, but emergencies really, it's partially based on good maintenance, but it's also stuff happens.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
And then, like, what about like snow removal on a Friday afternoon if there's a snowstorm? I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they've already put in their hours, so it would be overtime. I mean, they put in their hours. It's the same amount of hours that you're working. It's just you come in, they come in. They would leave at 3:30 during the week instead of leaving at 4. So they're not losing any time per se. We're all still putting in the same hourly time. Just like if it's a snowstorm and they don't get in till 7 and they have to report at 5 a.m. because of the snow, they're going to get paid even though they're going to be coming in at 7 anyhow. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I'm just, as I said, trying to
Yeah.
play out all the potentials.
Can I
Absolutely.
ask, the frequency of calls you get from the public, during the day? And everything we say and do, there's an end to consider. So what cost, are we shutting the public away as far as making the calls? I guess what I'm asking is how many calls you get today, how many transactions you do with the public in the course of a day. So when you lose those 2 hours,
Well, we're not losing those 2 hours because we actually open the office earlier too. I open the office at 8 as opposed to 8:30. So the office hours for the public are still the same amount of office hours they would get on a regular workday. To say that I don't really monitor which call, every day is different. You have days where you barely get any calls and you have days where the phone's ringing off the hook, but typically it's residents, not so much public.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And if a resident were to call during those 2 hours on Friday, if it were an emergency, it would be addressed. Is that correct?
Correct. Always. That's standard every time there's an emergency number to call and it goes right to the guys. And then if it's something that needed my attention, the guys get me.
If I could suggest picking up with Chairman Sheedy's suggestion that if you were to pull the file that you have that we voted on to approve the summer hours and create that same file, only call it revision September 2020, and just change it from the summer hours to year round, and then we could vote on it at the next meeting, if that's, I'd like to suggest that.
That's fine with me. It's, then
So in the interest
it's just here, we have it in a packet and we can say that we saw it. Although we're aware right now of what the change is, that it's in writing and we have it.
Mhm.
That's all. I mean, if they continue to take summer hours until the next meeting, I'm not gonna have a big issue with that, but it's,
Is that with everyone else as well?
I agree with
Vote
that.
on-
Tom's coming in.
it's once been told if you're late for a meeting, you should just lock the door. I won't tell you that.
I'm not late. I had this on my schedule for 6 o'clock,
Oh,
but that's my board meeting for tomorrow night.
oops.
Oh, there I am. All right, let's see. I apologize. I'll be quiet. Hello. Hello, Mr. Burrows. How are you? I haven't met you, I don't think. Not as an official commissioner. I apologize for being late. It's my fault.
That's right.
I told my wife to hurry up dinner. I had a meeting at 6. Again, I
Did
apologize.
you get to eat?
No, I'll eat afterwards. We'll be fine.
So we were just having a discussion, Tom, in regards to, we were on agenda item number 1, so you haven't missed a lot. We were on the request for approval to adopt summer hours. And it's basically, they're coming in, we did it for the summer, that they're coming in a half hour early and they're leaving a couple hours early on Friday, so. It's been suggested that it all be put in something. Anyone that hears all the squeaking?
It's mostly from your microphone, Dennis.
Yes,
What happened?
It's your microphone. It's your microphone that keeps making the noise.
and it seems to have stopped, whatever you just did.
Well, he just muted it.
Oh, oh,
Now you're unmuted.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing the noise though, so. Well, that's, I unplugged my charger. I don't know if that had something to do with it. So the suggestion was that it comes back to us next month, all spelled out in writing, that it's these hours for, it's revised hours for year round, basically, instead of summer hours and winter hours, and we would have it all in front of us and go from there.
I would agree with that. I think anytime you make a change that could be forever, you need a little time to think about it and make sure you understand all the consequences of it.
we did have a pretty reasonable discussion about it, including contributions from Dawn, Tom. And what we're presented with right now is to approve it during this next month until the next meeting, and then finalize it at the next meeting in writing, document-wise. Is that correct, Chairman Sheedy?
That would be my take right now, yeah.
Right, so this is a change to the personnel policy?
Well, right now we have summer hours in the personnel policy, so it would be changing summer hours to permanent hours.
Right, okay, so I think, yeah, I don't have a problem extending it. It doesn't sound like it's a half an hour either way, but I do think we should take a look at it when you're changing the personnel policy, have some time to deliberate on it. So has a motion been made?
No, it has.
Someone else who has more clear understanding of the motion want to make it?
I will make a
Um,
motion that we will approve the extension of summer hours to permanent hours pending full review on inclusion to the personnel policy.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Christian Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Widup. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
I'll just mention one other thing. If we're gonna put it on the personnel policy, is there anything else we need to include on the personnel policy? So just food for thought.
I think that's it at the moment.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Actually,
Aye.
I think
Aye.
on Zoom meeting, am I supposed to do a roll call?
Every meet,
Yeah.
every vote has to be a roll call, yeah.
So I'm just gonna go by order on my screen.
Yep.
Commissioner Sheedy, Christian Sheedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes,
Commissioner Widup,
Yes, I approve.
and Commissioner Burrows.
Yes.
And I'm approved too, so that's unanimous, Kathy. All right, moving on to Actually, if I could ask the board, now that we're all here, I would think that agenda item number 11, the reorganization, probably should be moved into this spot. Because if there is a new chair, they should be running the rest of this meeting.
So I will make a motion that we take agenda item number 11 out of order and do the board reorganization at this time.
I'd second that.
Motion by Commissioner Christian Sheedy and second by Commissioner Tebow. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Commissioner Tebow,
Yes,
Commissioner Christian Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Widup,
Yes,
and Commissioner Burrows.
Yes.
All right, I would entertain nominations.
I would like to nominate Dennis Sheedy as the chair.
I'll second that nomination.
All right, so we have a nomination of Dennis Sheedy for chair. There's also been discussion of Commissioner Widup being the chair. So I don't know how the board feels. It's fine with me. I'll do it if you want to do it. I am up for election next year, and I don't know if I'll be moving forward after that or not. I'm not sure. So I don't know if it's not a good idea for him to move up the chain now or wait a year. I don't know how the board feels about that.
if I could say, I'm a little bit green at this, and I guess I'm willing to accept a nomination if you could guide me and catch me and correct me as I go, and that way I can learn with you here.
It's fine with me. I mean, I'll go forward too, and you're gonna be vice chair. I have a funny feeling, so you're gonna be right there anyway. So you can run, Pam, but you can't hide. So
So can I amend my motion? Can I make a motion that Commissioner Widup be nominated as chair and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy be nominated as vice chair to assist Commissioner Widup?
I will second that motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Tebow and a second by Commissioner Christian Sheedy. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Commissioner Christian Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Widup.
Yes,
That was an apprehensive yes. Commissioner Burrows
Yes.
and Commissioner Dennis Sheedy is a yes. Welcome, Madam Chairperson.
thank you.
We do have a couple more slots to fill. We need a vice, well, we got the vice and we need a treasurer, or is that all we need?
I know there's at least a treasurer. Is there a vice treasurer?
Vice Chair and the secretary.
I thought the secretary was the director.
No, and since I've been to this authority, there's always been a position of secretary, treasurer
No,
and
it
a
was
secretary.
Technically clerk.
I thought it was treasurer and a vice treasurer or assistant treasurer. I think that's the position that I'm
You
leaving.
are probably right. I believe you were right. Yes, my mistake, yes.
Because I'm one of those that will be leaving. So could we entertain a nomination for treasurer?
If I could make a suggestion, and I don't know how you feel about this, Commissioner Burrows. One real good way to learn about the Housing Authority is to be the treasurer. You get to see every bill. You have to sign them, correct? So I don't know if you'd be, I would nominate you if you're willing to step into that position.
Yeah, I would accept that.
I would second that nomination.
Okay, we have a nomination for Commissioner Don Burrows as the treasurer by Tom Tebow, and a second by Commissioner Christiane Sheedy for Don Burrows as the treasurer. Any other discussion on this topic?
Nope.
Okay, then I'll take a poll. Commissioner Sheedy, Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Christiane Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows.
Yes.
That was a reluctant yes. And Chairperson Pam Whittup, I say yes, so it's unanimous. Welcome aboard, Commissioner Burrows as the treasurer.
And I would just say for Commissioner Burrows as well, not only do you learn a lot from signing those checks, but it just makes life easier where you are right there. It's an easier
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
If I could give you a little tip,
Thank you.
one of the things that I used to do, Dawn, was I would look at the amount of the check and the name of the vendor, and then I would lift the paperwork and look at the actual invoice and make sure that it was the same, the name of the vendor. And then I would also look at the amount of the invoice and make sure that it was the same as the check. And so it used to take me a little bit longer to sign the checks, but that was how I got to learn a lot of information, because it sparks your curiosity, as well as in doing the process of double checking, your curiosity gets involved.
Thank you.
Can I make a motion to name Christiane Sheedy as vice treasurer?
I have a motion by Tom Tebow nominating Christiane
that.
Sheedy as vice,
Second.
and seconded by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy. Any discussion? Okay, I will take a poll. All those, in Dennis Sheedy,
Aye.
and Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Christiane Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Chairperson Pam Whittup. I agree, yes. So we have our Assistant Treasurer, Christiane Sheedy. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That takes care of agenda item number 11, which was moved up to number 2. The next item on the agenda is the financial statements as of May 31st, 2020.
Can I make a suggestion on the financial comparatives? I know we have to do the quarterly, but since we have them all sequentially, and the one is the top of the other, the only one that really matters is the latest one, right? July.
Correct.
If we could take them as a bundle, and I think we do have to vote on the quarterly, the June quarterlies. But as far as the comparatives, if we could just ask questions on the July comparatives.
Mhm.
So that would be taking the agenda item financial statements, May 31st, 2020, and the agenda item number 4, financial statements, July 31st, 2020.
Correct.
And combining them. I'm looking for a motion to accept these 2 reports.
I'll make the
It's
motion
3,
to
isn't
accept
there?
them.
Second.
Then if we could have a discussion on it.
Yes, I have a motion by Tom and a second, Tom Tebow, and a second by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy. Is there any discussion on the May 31st or the July 31st financial statements?
I have a question. I don't know, Kathy, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. On the comparatives, on 400C, on the elderly buildings, it looks like he has added at the bottom a betterment and additions, an expense of $348,078 that brings the program into deficit. Do you know what that's all
Yeah.
about? Okay.
That's the Eisenhower House. He hasn't appropriated all the funds yet. That was the expense for Eisenhower.
Okay, so, and he doesn't have the income in yet on the sheet? Okay. And once he does that, should it end up as a positive through July, through August, let's say?
You know, I'll be honest with you, Tom, I don't know. I haven't seen much of Dan. I actually haven't seen Dan at all. We've only gone through emails and he sent all the stuff and he just did them all recently. So my guess is he hasn't appropriated the funds we had coming in. He just has to move it because we had the funds for Pequannock that came in, and then we have the other funds. So I think I'll talk to him about that, but I do know what that was that he put in there, because if you look at the betterments and addition page that follows that, you can see it's the exact same amount that Eisenhower cost. Down
Right.
at the bottom on the next page, page 7 of 8.
Yep.
That's the Eisenhower House. So I will talk to him about that again. You know, some of this stuff, basically the fee accountants know how to appropriate it, and I don't know why they do what they do sometimes.
Right, and he has not been visiting the authority, obviously.
No, not at all. And I've had very limited phone conversations with him. It's been emails back and forth. Can you send me this, that, or the other thing? Or his daughter will come in and pick up some paperwork from us so he can do the books.
If you send him a query by email and include it in next month's agenda with the answer.
But everything else looks pretty good, Kathy, other than that, just little oddity for the programs, correct?
Yep. Yes.
Is there any other
Comment.
questions on these financial statements?
I was just going to say that our fee accountant hasn't been in either since March, so I don't think it's
Well,
unusual.
So neither is ours, and I think it's a dangerous time for people who want to do things the wrong way. That's what the fee accountant's supposed to be there. And there's two ways you can do things the wrong way, right? One is by mistake, and then one is on purpose. And I'm not thinking, so I just had an audit done that I didn't think was as great as it should be, because the auditor sat at the other side of the building and there wasn't a lot of face-to-face time with the person. And, you know, that you really want to do that. So again, I would reach out to Dan and just have the conversations as you can. I know I do on a regular basis with my accountant, but I haven't seen him since March either.
Okay.
I would like to make a comment on these financial statements. I've noticed that the utility electricity has gone up. That because people are sheltering at home, maybe?
Very possible, but it's also the way that the bills come in and how they appropriate the money, the fee accountants, when they come in at different months, because they're always working a month behind.
Right, with the
So-
net metering and everything too.
Correct.
It was a very hot summer.
That as well.
Yes, yes. Are there any other questions or discussions on the financial statements for May 31st, 2020 and July 31st, 2020? So I'm going to poll approval of these financial statements. I believe the motion was made by Tom and seconded by Dennis. Okay, I will poll the members present. Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Sheedy,
Yes.
and Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes,
and Chairwoman Whittup. I approve these financial statements of May 31st and July 31st.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 30th quarterly financials.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow and a second by Commissioner Chris Sheedy to approve the quarterly financial statements as of June 30th, 2020. Is there any discussion on these statements?
This, Kathy, I think you might have a problem when you send it in and have a $238,000 deficit. It might bounce back to you.
Yeah.
So that's where Dan might have to send it in with some notes.
Okay.
Any further questions or discussions? Hearing none, I will poll for approval, yay or nay, of this quarterly financial statement as of June 30th, 2020. Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yay.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
yes,
and Chairwoman Whittup, I approve, yes. So that passes unanimously. And now we have the agenda item number 5, minutes for the June 9th regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 9th regular meeting as written.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to approve the minutes of the June 9th, 2020 regular meeting. Is there any discussion? Or any questions? Hearing none, we'll move along. I'll poll approval. Dennis, Commissioner Sheedy, for your vote.
Yes.
Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
yes,
and Chairman Whittup, I approve. So it is unanimous that we have approved the minutes for the June 9th, 2020 regular meeting. Agenda item number 6 is the June 2020 warrant approval in the amount of $292,800.64.
I will make a motion that we approve the June 2020 warrant for $292,800.64.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Chris Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy to approve the June 2020 warrant in the amount of $292,800.64. Is there any discussion or questions on this?
I just, a quick question, Kathy. You got the COVID signs from ID Sign Group? Was that an online place?
No, nope, it's right here in Easton in Bristol Industrial Park, ID signs.
ID Signs, okay, and they delivered them, they customized to Easton or just they customized to the 6 feet and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And they did the plexiglass for around the office as well. And I mean, it wasn't even a week out and we had it all installed.
Excellent, excellent. Are you able to
We'll tell you
send
that,
the, excuse me, I'm sorry, Chris, go on.
No, I was just gonna say that there's tons of signs on Amazon as well, if you're looking for signs.
Yeah, now there are, but when we got them, it was tough getting the signs.
That's like when I was shopping for a webcam. It's like helter skelter. And then when I finally made my purchase, I had to fight to get them to ship it. They took the money and they
Oh.
charged my PayPal and didn't ship it for like a week, 2 weeks. Anyways, success. I do have a question on the Section 8 vouchers, page 5 of 9 and page 9 of 9. There are 2 entries for Monica Vega. And I was wondering if that was a duplication or a split month or something. One of them is dated, one of them is an online payment dated June 2nd, and the other one is a check dated June 15th. Kathy?
Hang on, page 5 of 9.
Page 5 of 9, yes.
Monica Vega. 6,
Right.
17, I believe this was, and what was the other page?
9 of 9.
I believe because she was on hold for 1 month. This is a half payment, which is the housing voucher. And when they don't comply, sometimes we can put them on hold. And then when they do what they're supposed to do, and I don't remember the exact circumstances surrounding it, we release the funds. So one was online, one was check.
Right.
That's
Okay,
the landlord.
thank you. And the other question I have, I noticed on the list of checks, vendors, on page 8 of 11, it talks a check to Easton Electronics for $1,192.97 for a lightning strike on a fire panel. I was wondering if there was any other serious damages. Did you lose computers or anything, or was it just that fire
No,
panel?
not at all. They just set the panel into alarm and they had to come out. It didn't actually strike the panel. It struck the ground near the panel. If it struck the panel, it would have blown the panel. Yeah.
Guess we lucked out on that.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions on the warrant for June 20th, June 2020? Hearing none, I will poll the board for vote. Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes?
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Chairman Widdop, I approve the, it's unanimous for the June 2020 warrant approval. Agenda item number 7 is the July 2020 warrant approval in the amount of $156,662.19.
I'll make a motion to approve the July 2020 warrant in the amount of $156,662.19.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to approve the July 2020 warrant in the amount of $156,662.19. Is there any discussion or questions on this warrant?
I had one question, Kathy. I saw you bought office stand desks. 2 of them were returned. What are those exactly?
The desks that you can sit or stand at your desk. Actually, we're only keeping 1 and 3 are getting returned. They didn't work out. The only one they worked out for is Dawn. Yeah, they're the type, they can go up or down, so you can
No,
stand up at your
getting
desk.
one myself. You didn't like it,
Yeah.
huh?
I would have loved it, but when it went down, it didn't go flat, so it was too high for me, so it was up in this line of vision. When it went down, Dawn's so much taller, it's perfect for her, and you couldn't adjust the all the way down part. But
Okay.
no, it's great. If I could find another one for myself, I'd love to get it. Just, yeah, the monotonous sitting with the computers these days gets a bit old on the back.
Okay, excellent. I have no other questions.
Any further questions on the July 2020 warrant? Hearing none, I will poll the board for a vote for approval of the July 2020 warrant of $156,662.19. Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Widdop, I approve. It is unanimous. Moving along here, agenda item number 8. And we have a approval of a change order for the project on Elise Circle, the ramp project for Elise Circle, project number 088047. There are emails attached with this agenda. You have a motion to approve this or any discussion?
Kathy, could you fill us in on this one? Because I tried to follow your email thread there, but there was so many, I got lost, so.
Yeah, there were a couple of change orders on this job, and this particular change order was done, and a change order was never submitted. It has already been done and completed. It was done back in October of 18, so we need to have it approved, even though it was already completed. The architects and DHCD had approved it, and it has been paid, quite honestly. But I didn't realize it had to come through in a change order because it was a small amount, and there were some other concessions they were supposed to make, so I kind of thought it was a trade-off. So this change order was done. There's a subsequent change order that needs to come forward that I've been emailing the architect for and have yet to receive for slot drains up at Elise Circle. That will be change order number 3, but I still, as of this date, don't have that change order yet.
So this was the one for the fire truck to be able to make the turn? Is that the deal? That,
Yes, and the dumpster pad.
okay. Yeah, that does go back quite a way.
Yeah,
I will
I'll
make a
make-
motion to approve this change order for fish number 088047 in the amount of $2,254 on the Elise Circle parking paving job.
And I'd like to second that with just a note that we did discuss this at length at the time.
yes, we did.
Yes. And we're satisfied that the work is done. This.
Oh, yeah,
specific-
that work is done quite a while ago.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tom Tebow to accept the change order number 2 for fish project, Elise Circle Ramp Project, fish number 088047. And I'm going to poll the board now. Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Widdop, yes. So it is unanimous. And agenda item number 9, The same Elise Circle Ramp Project, approval for partial release of the retainage. Maybe Kathy, you could start by explaining that to us, or shall we go for a motion first? What do you recommend, Commissioner Dennis Sheedy?
In a technical sense, you should have a motion followed by a second, and then that opens it up for discussion. Technically, you can have discussions until you have the motion in a second.
Thank you. So I would entertain a motion for agenda item number 9, the Elise Circle Ramp Project approval for partial release of retainage. And I believe when I was reading this, it looks like the $5,000, which was the punch list amount that they're looking for. Is that correct? Okay. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tom Tebow and a second by Commissioner Christiane Sheedy to approve the partial release of the retainage funds of $5,000 on the Elise Circle Ramp Project, fiche number 088047. Is there any questions or discussions?
Just for clarification, I believe the amount is $44,185.15.
Yes.
Thank you. So I will revise
5,000
that.
to retain it. We're holding
Thank you. So I make a revision to that motion for the Elise Circle Ramp Project approval for the change order.
No,
To-
that's just a release.
Right. Any other discussion about this?
It's coming along. Kathy, is it done? Is the punch list done already?
pretty much. Yeah, they'll be looking for that. We're still waiting on the change order for the slot drains, though, same company.
Okay.
So according to the documents here, it appears that everything was done, but if there is an item that's still pending, maybe we could have some type of a email communication document or something or that.
There's nothing pending on this job. What will come through may be a change order for slot drains, but that would be above and beyond this. And I don't know that until something comes through. We have a retainage still of the $5,000 on the punch list items.
Okay,
We're sending them the $44,185 as their partial release, but we still hold the 5,000.
Right, and it says for the 5,000, establish growth of grass for the entire site for disturbed areas, 1,500. Expand pavement in front of building number 26671, 3,500.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's, even if it's done, we're not giving it to them right now.
Correct.
so any further discussion on this? So I'm looking for a vote. I'll poll the board for approval of agenda item number 9, the Elise Ramp Project approval for partial release of retainage, $44,185.15. Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes,
Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes,
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes,
and Commissioner Widdop. I approve, yes, so it is unanimous. I'll tell you, next time I'm gonna have a glass of water handy. Okay, we're moving along here. Agenda item number 10, the public housing notice from the DHCD. Does that doesn't require any motion, does it? It's just a discussion.
No, that's just information for the board so that they're aware of the extra funding.
and do you have plans for spending it, Kathy?
We've been spending it. I haven't added everything up yet. No, I was hoping to actually get some ideas from other housing authorities, today in the small housing authority roundtable, but I don't think that was as successful as I thought it might be. But, no, we're still doing the cleaning. We've bought a lot of things. We just installed, the automatic door at the Parker Terrace Community Room. So it's kind of touch-free. We've done the touch-free hand dryers, soap dispensers we're still waiting on coming in. So I'd have to just put all those bills together. We still have the regular cleaning of all common areas of the authority 7 days a week. So it's all adding up.
So I know I've just been buying everything and putting it stockpiling.
Yeah, that's what
And then-
we're in the process of doing as well.
And I took a suggestion that came out of the Brockton Housing Authority is buying those nice packets of wipes for the vehicles as well as the personal vehicles, which I thought was a great idea.
That is a good idea.
It is good because you have it in the trucks for the guys. And then if anybody's going out and doing anything, in their own personal vehicle, they can get back in and feel like they can, wipe down whatever they need to wipe down and feel safe.
We bought those blue lights, the handheld blue lights. I don't know if you've seen those. I got the HEPA filter blue light air sanitizers in the office. We got 2 of those. And then they have handheld ones. So the guys have it. So when they go to a unit, they can just wander around the unit wherever they may have touched. They use wipes as well. But in particular, Dawn will use it for paperwork when she's going out to, meet people at the car to have them sign Corey release and whatnot. So you just wave them. And it has that blue light that is supposed to kill the bacteria as well. So bought a couple of those.
Very interesting.
I'd like to make a comment, Kathy. When I was reading this, it talked about how they may do an audit. And if they do an audit and they find things that aren't properly spent, and I was thinking to myself, my bookkeeping experience, my history of being in the accounting field, when you're keying in your payments to whomever the vendor may be, in the description line, always plug in COVID. And that way you
I
can do a
have it.
mass search and everything's gonna come up.
I've been keeping a folder of every expense, even like when we get the HD bills in and highlighting what in particular was for COVID, because not everything we order from HD Supply would necessarily be for COVID. It could be for vacancies as well. So I go through and I highlight it, and I've just been keeping them all in a folder. So they're all together, nice and neat,
Good.
hopefully.
And you've bought a couple of the electric static fogging guns.
No, I have not done that. They're pretty
HD
expensive.
Supply has them for like $800, and they come out in like 2 or
Really?
3 weeks. Yep, I bought 2. They're good.
When did you see them? Was it like
they-
just recent?
you had to order them, and then they were kind of like on a back order, but they came out like 3 weeks later. There's 2. I made 2 separate purchases, and they both have already showed up, and
Okay.
they came out pretty
Great.
timely.
Okay, awesome. That is great.
The, on that subject, going back to, Larry Armstrong is the gentleman that is doing the sanitizing of the common
Yeah.
areas. And I
Yeah.
noticed in the warrants that it would seem to be like every 2 weeks, he would get a check for $1,330. Is that correct?
No, it's weekly. It's how he submits his bills, though. It's weekly, and that's only $95 a day for all buildings and laundry rooms. So it's all doorknobs, only front entrances, handrails, mailboxes, laundry facilities.
He's not gonna bust the budget, is he? I mean, we would hate for. Because
We're getting $64,000 in COVID funds, and he hasn't even, we're not even close to that.
I
Yeah,
just did
that's-
some
it's
quick
an
math
amazing-
for the 1,300, 1,330 that's not weekly. He works weekly, but he bills bi-weekly. Is that how it works?
He bills whenever he bills.
Oh, okay.
I'm keeping, the bills aren't every week. They like, and he'll send them to maintenance and then maintenance sends them to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess I was just worried that we might bust the budget with it because I was trying to do the math.
No,
No.
1995, 95 times 14 is 1330. So it's 2,600 a month, 26,600.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions on this public housing notice for the coronavirus relief funding or discussion? And so that takes care of agenda item number 10. And all we have left is questions or comments in general for the meeting.
My
Kathy.
comment is, Tam, you've done very well, and I thank you for assuming chairmanship.
I
Thank you,
agree. I look
Ms.
forward to
Sheehan.
working with you, Ms. Whitup. Or Chairman
Thank
Whitup,
you.
Chairman Whitup.
I did have one thing, Kathy, I should have brought it up in the executive director's report, but we kind of got tied down with summer hours and champ talk. So Eisenhower Drive, if you could just bring us up to speed on that as to what's going on with that.
DHCD is dragging their feet.
It's
We're
shocking.
trying to get,
Is
I
there a
know.
way to put a shoe in their behind? Because it's just, it's beyond words that, you know, a beautiful house could sit there, that it's school starting and a family would love to move in and get their kids going in the Easton school system if they're not from Easton, and yet it sits there vacant. It's very, very frustrating that if it was private, if you or I owned it, we'd get this done in 2 weeks. So it,
correct. Well,
Yeah.
as you know, we needed an architect to design the abatement, and they're funding it. So ARCAT is working with me on this as well. So we actually have a company, and there was some issues on how we were going to upload it into the capital improvement system, and we needed a fish number for it, and there was a delay on that. We do have a fish number, and we do have an architect that read the plans, and we shall be doing best business practices because it shouldn't be that expensive, so we don't have to go out to bid necessarily. And we'll call a couple of companies and see what we get for pricing on that, because we have an actual list of what needs to be deleted.
and my second question would be, have you pulled a list for somebody to move in there?
We have not. We've been focusing on the units that are ready, quite honestly, because DHCD was dragging their feet on this a little bit.
Yeah,
I
but some-
really just wanted to go in there and let it and beg forgiveness later, to tell you the truth, but I did not do that.
You know, my thought would be that the champ system takes so long that I would get moving on it and get somebody ready, and then you can hold it to them that I have a family ready to go. They need housing, so, you know, let's go. Because they're always
Okay.
on us. When we're late, it's a different story, so. I think
Right.
it's time to put the shoe on the other foot and let them know that they're holding up people from having a place to live for the winter.
Yes, will do.
And we know how long it takes to go through the chance list and qualify somebody. So, I mean, if you wait until the house is ready, then it's gonna be another 4 months after that. And next thing you know, they'll be telling us the septic's no good because nobody's lived there in so long. So,
Well, I didn't do it initially because of COVID, quite honestly, and we weren't in the office, and, you know, we came back and we've been focusing on all the vacancies we have, but I will make sure that that's the next list that we pull when we start working on that.
thank you. I have to keep muting and unmuting here.
Kathy, could you speak to the Elise Circle, the community room over there, and, you know, the status of that renovation? So,
Well, we just received the funds, actually, from Rep. Cronin. It gets siphoned through the state, and then it gets siphoned through the Department of Housing and Community Development, and we just received the funds. We work with an RCAT because it's $75,000. So we haven't actually put a plan together yet. We know that we need to include a handicap bathroom in that community room. With any luck, I'll be able to include an extra washer and dryer, because we're gonna remodel that whole community room and put in, on the end where the washing and drying machines are, I'd like to put in automatic doors there as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Burrows, RCAT stands for Regional Capital Assistance Team. And it's just another part of the bureaucratic process through DHCD. You'll learn as you go through your training and as you come to the meetings that it's a lot of red tape that we have to tiptoe through. But it protects us. It's for our protection. Thank you for that question, Commissioner Burrows.
So the RCAT is part of the bureaucracy, but they're actually pretty helpful. You're generally more helpful than the department.
Yeah, and they push the department along a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Okay. I guess I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll
move.
make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I have a motion from Chrisanne Sheedy to
I'll
adjourn, and I will accept Commissioner Tom Tebow's as a second. Is that acceptable? All right, we'll poll all those in favor. Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tom Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Don Burrows,
Yes.
and Chair Whittup. I approve that we adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much, everyone. Bit of a long meeting, but we were covering 3 months worth of business, so well done.
Well,
Well done. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I apologize for being tardy.
one last thing, Tim, you need to set the next meeting.
Okay.
Be the second Tuesday.
Would be the 13th, October 13th.
That would be the day after Columbus Day, so just so the board's aware.
Does that present a problem for you, Kathy, with the holiday?
No. I'll just post it on Thursday.
It's
Fine with me.
the first week in October is short. The October 1st starts on a Thursday, so will that give you enough time to prepare everything? You basically you have a week and a half.
Not a problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
is that all
All
right
right.
with everyone? So the next meeting of the Easton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners will be on Tuesday, October 13th. Unless anyone objects or has a problem.
Are we still going to do 5 o'clock, or did you want to do afternoon? Is that still going to play at 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock works best for me.
Okay.
6 o'clock works best for Mr. Tebow.
No, I'm fine with 5. I was a half an hour early, I have to tell you. If I wasn't so early, I wouldn't have been so late. Figure that one out. All right.
Maybe Commissioner Sheedy could send a reminder to Commissioner Tebow on the 12th.
I got a reminder. I told my wife that I had to eat dinner because I had to get down to this meeting. I just have to put it on my calendar the right way.
Commissioner
All right.
Chrisanne Sheedy, will that be all right? 5 o'clock, 5 p.m.?
All fine with me.
And Commissioner Burrows?
Anytime's good. Thank you.
Okay.
All righty.
So the
Thank you very
motion-
much. Have a good evening.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
everyone.
Stay well.
Bye-bye.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Adjourn.